And the biggest trap could be turned into probably one of the biggest leverages that you have as a lawyer. Once you clear your mind, then you will see your growth will come on the back end of that. Sometimes it's good to be cutthroat with your own rules. Everybody's probably guilty of this, and it leads to ultimately depression. The more we can limit that, the more people to kind of grow and take it to the next level. Answering emails or having your email inbox open throughout the day. Emails is the biggest time trap for lawyers, bar none. If you agree, say aye.
Aye.
So I realized this because I was in an email trap myself. If anything, I was in the biggest email trap because I made, as I shared in my last story, I directed people through my emails. Well, now that directed all my time towards answering people's emails all day long. It was fruitful because I realized the more emails I can answer, the more money I could make. So I was making a good amount of money, but I realized this is not sustainable. So I basically started looking into programs or things that could get me out of my email inbox. I learned about time blocking when it came to your email inbox. I learned about limiting your sessions. And then my breakthrough came through utilizing this tool called Mixmax, which is a Gmail plugin that allows you to create templates and sequences out of your emails inside your Gmail inbox. And I created these templates and sequences that I was able to delegate to my VAs to be able to answer emails for me. That's basically how I do it now. Dedicated, blocked off time. I don't have my email box open throughout the day. If anything, probably answer my emails. Maybe I check my email maybe once or twice a day at most. Sometimes I skip some days. And then about 95 to 98% of my emails are now answered by our intakers who know exactly how to respond to our prospects, our clients through Mixmax templates and sequences.
Yeah, this was a very tough one for me because I grew up with email in a professional environment. I mean, I remember, I'm so old, I remember when we didn't have email. So I had email pretty much all my professional life. And when you couple that with your personal email, which a lot of attorneys do, they have the same account that they're doing personal email in and professional email in. The temptation to spend all your time and effort in the email is just overwhelming. And it's a crutch, frankly. You think you're working hard because you're responding to emails, but you're really working harder because you're less efficient. And the biggest challenge for me was to close the email application on my laptop and only open it at a specific time and address everything I needed to address and move on, close it back down again. And I'd suggest if you're having difficulty with that, just try it out. Just close your email down for an hour, okay? And see how much you get done. And then the next time for 2 hours. So pretty soon you're going to have it half a day, if not the whole day. And Mixmax is a wonderful platform that works, as you said, with Gmail. Another option is SaneBox. I've had a lot of experience with clients who have been using SaneBox in a very similar way to help manage their email system. So whatever you can do to spend less time in that app responding to emails, the better you're going to be.
Yeah, I think the first step for anybody who's trying to get a handle on their email box, as we mentioned, is time blocking when you answer emails. I think that is key. If you can do that, I think that is the 80 Pareto principle of this whole principle of managing your email box. So think about how can I block out a certain number of minutes per day, maybe, and then ask yourself either whether it be morning or evening, block that on your calendar, and then close your email inbox window. I cannot stress this enough. It should not be open throughout the day. These notifications, little bings and things that you see really take away your focus from doing what is going to be the most leverage and most business for your law firm. As soon as you do that, once you clear your plate and your mind, then you will see your growth will come on the back end of that.
The other challenge I find is that recognize that you don't always have to be the person who responds to the email. Okay? Delegate. It takes 2 seconds to forward the email to a staff member and say, please respond. And then it's out of sight, out of mind. And you need to develop that muscle, that delegation muscle, to help free your time in your own inbox.
And I think email is so crucial for lawyers that we have an entire module just dedicated to this. There's a lot more to it. Getting onto Google Workspace, setting up your Gmail settings for maximum productivity, optimizing your email signature, Mixmax that we mentioned, creating templates and sequences, creating Gmail rules that automatically filters and categorizes your emails for you. There's a lot more to it. There's like the biggest trap could be turned into probably one of the biggest leverages that you have as a lawyer.
I'm always stunned by how little folks use the rule capability. The ability to create a rule to automatically process email based on a keyword or phrase or source or a whole variety of things, and be able to link those rules together. It gives you tremendous opportunities. And I'm always stunned at how few people take advantage of that.
Yeah, the Gmail rules are game changing. Look into it. It's called Gmail rules, how to create essentially filters and rules for your Gmail inbox. Too many meetings or long meetings. Again, if you're guilty, say aye.
I'm less so with that these days.
Okay.
But the point is well made.
Neil, share your experience with that.
Yeah. Again, coming from a previous lifestyle or lifetime and my tech background, we had meetings galore. Your whole day was defined by meetings. And we would have a stand-up meeting every morning. And it's called a stand-up meeting because we went in the conference room and we all stood around the conference table. And this was our way of making sure that the team was on board and dealing with things in an integrated manner. And it got to be where it was just a 1 hour long waste of time to start your day. We started our day wasting time in a meeting. The biggest problem with most meetings are a lack of an agenda. You have an issue that you want to talk about and say, all right, we're going to put some time on the calendar and we're going to set a meeting to discuss. And then you get there and nobody has prepared an outline. Nobody has prepared an agenda as to what the meeting's about. And so it's a terrible waste of time. So I think those are the too many meetings that you have just out of habit, and then meetings that don't have an agenda or a focus to them eat up your entire day. And as a corollary to that, there's a capability that we have now that we didn't used to have, but allowing other people access to your calendar and allowing them to schedule meeting time on your calendar, that's just crazy. You've lost control of your day if somebody can set up a meeting on your calendar. So I strongly advocate not doing that.
Yeah, and it comes down to creating meeting rules. So I'll share some with you, and if you like them, put them down and share with your team and build that into your schedule going forward. So it's a couple of meeting rules. Number one is avoid having meetings most days and allocate ideally 1 to 2 days a week just for meetings. So what I do is I allocate Mondays as the meeting day, especially our team meetings. That day, play ball, let's meet with our team. I think it's a perfect day because it's the beginning of the week. You get clarity. Our team gets clarity about what needs to get accomplished that week, so that I don't need to meet on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that kind of sets the tone. Number two, keep meetings to 30 minutes max, ultimate max. Very rarely will that rule ever be broken. Ideally, also, sometimes meetings can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, especially if you have people that are doers on your team. If you have people that are talkers, it usually leads to longer meetings. But whatever it is, have a hard line, 30 minutes. Change your Google Calendar invite default setting so that it only sends 30-minute invites. Make sure to express that in the beginning of the call. Hey, just letting this meeting will be 30 minutes. So let's try to get this through this. Try to limit the length. And number three is don't be afraid to say no more often. I can't stress how many times I get requested to have meetings, whether it be via Facebook or Instagram or emails or text or friends or whoever. Hey, Sam, can I do this? Can I meet with you? I just straight up have a rule policy. Sorry, I would love to. Obviously, I would love to, but I'm not taking on meetings at this point. If there's anything you want to talk about, feel free to send me a text or an audio message. Let me see if I can answer your question. I do that. Usually 70-80% of this will be sorted out then. A lot of times they also avoid those people that are like kind of wasting my time. So it kind of filters that out. And sometimes it's good to be cutthroat with your own rules. If not, other people will make rules for you.
Yeah, I would add one other rule that I learned a long time ago is to make sure that every meeting has a leader identified. You oftentimes get into meetings and somebody called for the meeting and they have a group of folks that are attending it, but nobody seems to be in charge and it just seems to wander all over the place and you've just wasted everybody's time. Always have who's in charge of this meeting and always have an agenda. I don't care if it's 3 bullet points. Send that 3 bullet point agenda out before the meeting, and the person who sends it out is in charge of making sure that meeting gets addressed in an efficient way. And as you said, it takes no longer than 30 minutes. I have a hard and fast rule. I have no meetings on Mondays and Fridays. None. In part because of my lifestyle choices. I want to be able to stay at the beach over the weekend, right? Work from the beach if I want to. I don't want to have any meetings on Mondays or Fridays.
I agree.
Fridays.
For me, my happiest days are days that I'm having no meetings at all. Just I could,
Right.
it's so conscious. I'm like, I'm so happy today. And I'm sure Neil attested to that too. And I'm sure you attested to that too. If you just do that more frequently, your happiness level will go up. That's for sure. Social media overusage. Social media overusage. If that's you, say aye.
There you go.
Aye.
And I tell myself I need to take a 10-minute break because you don't want to work round the clock. So every hour I want to take a 10-minute break. And invariably in the past, that 10 minutes would be consumed by checking on the social media accounts, both business and personal. The next thing I looked up, half hours. Can happen all the time unless you show some discipline.
Totally. And I think we're not disciplined enough to just have discipline. So I think we have to create those barriers so that we don't fall into the trap. For me, I think the biggest trap that I've seen is TikTok and Instagram, especially if you find yourself being a consumer, being a producer. And it's something that I have this kind of mindset in my head is, am I being a consumer right now or a producer? If I have the social media, I have to be a producer. If not, if I find myself spending most of my time as a consumer, then I try to avoid it. I delete the app from my phone and I try to find other ways to leverage the social media, which I'll talk about shortly. But I think social media does destroy our focus and it leads to ultimately depression and lack of focus ultimately. So the more people to kind of grow and take it to the next level.
And there's plenty of time outside of work to go down that social media rabbit hole all you want.
Neil, is there are there any benefits to being on social media that you see?
Well, I think you said it really succinctly. If you're a producer, if you're talking about going on to the channel to look at what you are producing. So for instance, we do a lot of social media marketing. We do a lot of social media content generation. And so I will go spend some time looking at how those posts are doing, looking at what comments they may be generating, looking to see whether or not they are forwarding our objectives as a firm. I'm not looking at it to be entertained. I'm not looking at it to be, as you said, a consumer. And I think that is the key distinction. If you're consuming, you're not producing. So I think that's the key point.
And I think it's always important to also find the leverages in this social media. I'm a studier of social media because I'm intensely looking at all the ads to understand how's this ad run, how are they hooking me in, what are they saying in the ad, what are the visuals, so I could take that, study it, and actually apply it to run ads for our own law firms. And that's proven to be
Sure.
Created pages of swipe files throughout the years, kind of became a social media kind of ad, kind of self-quoted guru from kind of having focus on those things versus kind of falling for the traps of the organic kind of stuff.
I'll tell you also that if you're going to spend some time in social media, the most empowering aspect of it is blocking folks and hiding stuff. So you're in control of that feed. So if you just are judicious in there's something in your feed that's wasting your time, get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's your feed. And the more you do that, I think the more efficient your time spent on that platform will be.
I love that, Neil. And I'm a huge believer of that is unfriending, blocking, unfollowing, unsubscribing. I think I do that on a daily basis across all channels because I'm constantly fine-tuning where am I spending my attention on. If something triggers me, it's something negative people, things like that, things I don't want to see, I'm constantly unfollowing and unfriending.
Absolutely.